first started out, my strongest body part were my legs. I came from, tumbling background, track background, dance background, so I always had really genetic legs. My father had great legs.
From the first time she picked up a weight, 2 years later she was a pro.
My husband is my trainer, and we worked very, very hard to just bring out that overall package where no body part stood out from another body part.
After 3 years of trying, Kim Chizevsky won Ms. Olympia 4 times in a row. Away from the bodybuilding limelight, Kim Chizevsky and her sports nutritionist husband, Chad Nichols, live in Missouri.
I am now making a transition to fitness, and it's because basically I've achieved all I could achieve in women's bodybuilding. I had been the big muscular girl for long enough, and I just wanted new challenges.
In deciding to take the fitness challenge, Kim has shed at least 55 pounds of muscle in just over a year. To tear down that much tissue, Kim had to cut down on her protein intake, the most important muscle building block.
I am a lot happier now that I am trimmed down and can wear normal clothes and off-the-rack clothes instead of having to have everything made for me. It was never that I liked being big. I never liked the off-season where you had to, gain weight in order to lose weight to look a certain way. I had like 11-year layoff of doing no gymnastics, no tumbling at all, and I'm above and beyond at the age of 32 where I was when I was, in college. So this is pretty cool for me.
The movement now is with the Miss Fitness Olympia.
The popular bias is in favor of a more lean and traditionally feminine look.
Where women are judged by more traditional standards like they were in the early 80s. More like a beauty contest. Athletic women that are beautiful and have good physical development, have definition, are not big, don't do muscular poses, and have a lot of flexibility and have some kind of act that they do. The prize money is up in the Miss Fitness Olympia compared to the Miss Olympia. That is what's marketable, and it seems to be what draws people in and what they want.
I think there's a turnaround coming, and I think this last year was the year that's going to make this turnaround happen. I think the judges and the public and the reader magazines, I think everybody is saying enough is enough. We are going back to what we had 10 years ago.
Come on, Lisa.
It's funny, looking back on it now and getting that big is like I wasn't looking in the mirror at myself, so I couldn't really see how big I was getting. But now looking back and I compare and I'll be like, Lord, I was huge.
Professional bodybuilder Lisa Lewis has been referred to as an Amazon. At a height of 5 feet 10, during the off-season she weighed in at 205 pounds. In competition, her weight was 193 with 3% body fat.
I'm 180 now. I like to come in competing at 160. The criteria is changing. They don't want the big girls anymore. They want us more defined, more detailed, simplifying our looks. I think the change is good and healthy for the sport, but I don't think that they're realizing that you can't tear the muscle down overnight.
Today, bodybuilding is a billion-dollar fitness industry. Where did it all begin? The name Weider is synonymous with fitness and health.
Right. Okay. So how to get people off the phone?
Joe Weider is credited as the founder of the modern bodybuilding movement.
I always enjoy it. When you love something, you just love something. It grows on you.
In 1940, along with his brother Ben, Joe created a self-published newsletter devoted to fitness, Your Physique.
When I told my mother I was going to publish some magazines, I must have been around 17 or so, she thought I was crazy. She says, "You going to be a publisher?" But eventually we got it all together.
It was mimeographed in our own home and put together and brought to the newsstands to be sold.
And I got renewals. Buddies subscribed, and I began to build up a little mail order list.
And then we started to manufacture barbells and chest expanders and benches.
So when I began to sell the barbells, I was making profit. So I took the profit from my magazines and the barbells, pooled it together, and published better and better magazines. Today it's called Muscle and Fitness.
From humble beginnings in Montreal, Canada, their grassroots enterprise has mushroomed into a multi-million-dollar empire that provides fitness-related products to over 60 countries throughout the world.
This is a billion-dollar industry. Most people don't really understand that.
Today, the nutrition and supplement industry is thriving. Inspired by bodybuilders, the fitness craze has taken the public by storm. From protein powders to fat burners, vitamins and amino acids, the science of nutrition has become as important as the workout itself.
When you get involved in bodybuilding, you want to compete, you learn so much about your body, about every muscle, food, calories, everything.
Although it takes years to train, it is the last 4 months before competition that are the most extreme in terms of nutrition and sacrifice. This is when the dieting begins.
Nowadays, people are smarter too with competing, where you don't starve yourself of everything. You have little bits of things that to maintain not having to go over the edge and binge.
It's an incredible amount of work, and they have to get obsessed with themselves in order to do that. They are the masterpiece, so they have to be obsessed with themselves.
Everything the bodybuilder ingests is taken into consideration for gaining muscle or losing fat.
I'm going to go buy my food for the week since I'm preparing for the Muscle Mania. Got to eat.
The off season is basically trying to gain as much weight to get as big as you possibly can. So then when you start your pre-contest diet, basically you're dwindling down, trying to save as much muscle, but at the same time you're trying to take off as much fat as you possibly can.
Right now I'm looking for some steak. I like to take in some beef about 3 days a week to keep my calories high. I look for stuff that's really lean and inexpensive, of course. I usually go through about anywhere from 8 to 10 breasts a day. Broccoli, 3 pounds of broccoli. I go through this in about 3 to 4 days. I'm eating anywhere between 10 to 20 eggs per day. That's egg whites without the yolk.
These guys pack on incredible amounts of muscle, and a lot of that is attributed to high-protein diet.
Bodybuilders can eat in excess of 400 to 500 grams of protein daily. That is 6 times the normal intake. On top of that, to burn fat, they increase their metabolism by eating 6 to 8 meals a day.
When you train, you're breaking down the muscle, and your body will strip amino acids from the muscle. So you've got to take a certain amount of protein to kind of counterbalance that. The hope is that you're taking enough protein in as you break down the muscle, that now the muscle is going to rebuild itself bigger. And so everybody that's coming in here day after day after day is breaking down muscle, trying to rebuild it so it's bigger and bigger.
When I walk on stage, I will be polished and professional, and my physique will be absolutely complete because of my conditioning. I make sure that I'm absolutely as low in body fat as I can be before I walk on stage.
Anybody can come in and train and lift weights and put on a lot of muscle. But when it comes to bodybuilding and showing what you've done that whole year, if you didn't get your diet down or your nutrition isn't perfect, whatever you've done will never show on stage because of the diet. It isn't right on the money.
The diet is very expensive. Eating chicken and beef every day, it adds up. And if you don't have sponsors, it's very hard.
Food alone is probably in the area of $600 to $800 a month.
On top of that, all of your supplements, protein powders, your meal replacements, it's going to run you probably somewhere around $300 to $400 a month on top of all of your grocery bills. So it's not a cheap sport for sure.
Supplements are very important to bodybuilding, whether you're a professional bodybuilder or an amateur just starting out. A lot of the proteins and the nutritional products that are sold in bodybuilding stores, I mean, they're there for a reason, because they can actually supplement your diet cheaper and more effectively a lot of times than a meal can.
When you work out day after day, there are 3 basic supplements that are the foundation of building muscle: protein, glutamine, and creatine.
For instance, many of the protein powders contain 20 or 30 grams of protein per serving. Well, your typical chicken breast has between 20 and 25 grams of protein. An egg white only has 3 grams of protein. You have to eat 10 egg whites to get 30 grams of protein.
Glutamine acts as a great muscle cell volumizer, and once again, I would definitely recommend it for people wanting to gain or lose. It also acts as a cell detoxifier.
Creatine is a tried and proven nutrient that definitely enhances size at the cellular level, meaning it actually pulls fluid into the muscle cell, which is very similar to a steroid, but this is very natural and very safe.
Just as important as nutrition and supplements, water plays a huge part in how a bodybuilder can manipulate his training to achieve that ripped and cut look.
So your muscle's 70% water, and people forget this while they're training. So we're constantly drinking water. At least I am, anyway.
Pre-contest, I usually try to get in about 1.5 to 2 gallons a day of just water.